Maybe the Darksaber belongs in someone else's hands.
Hello there, Kenobi. Welcome back. This is Return of the Nerd. And today we're going to do part 2 of our Mandalorian video. In the last video, we opened up this guy. This is Paz Vizsla. He's a TVC Deluxe. He's absolutely fantastic. So you can go check that video out if you haven't already watched it. Then today I've got like a bunch of 6-inch figures. These ones, all these guys you see here, these are like all the hard bastards. There's ones I wouldn't mess with. So later on we're going to open Big Brother. Here's Jon Favreau's face sculpt. So here's the Black Series. This was the San Diego Comic-Con from last year. And I'm going to open this one up. We'll have a look and compare him to our little one over here. Fantastic. And we were having like a really interesting discussion about Mandalorians, about they're supposed to have this like superior warrior ethos. You know, they're kind of like the Spartans 300 of Star Wars. But I don't know, sometimes I feel like there's an over dependency on their armor and the weapons and the gadgets that they've made, because you know, melee warfare basically is a free-for-all where you just get stuck in, and your weapons really don't count for anything. You have to just improvise, and you have to be extremely brutal and violent. So can Mandalorians still fight well enough to survive without all of these, you know, gadgets and the helmets and everything? I don't know. It's a good question. But again, we have to remember this is Star Wars. You know, this is it's a sci-fi, you know, slash fantasy, and these guys are humanoid characters, and they have to share the galaxy with hundreds of thousands of species of aliens and other monsters, even Force users, and so it'll be an unfair advantage to just expect them to walk around, you know, with no protection whatsoever, just like a blaster. So yeah. I think it's interesting. I really like these ones I've got set up here. Oh, by the way, this is just for fun. This is this was Jon Favreau, I think. Where did I take? Oh, this is from the Marvel figure line, isn't it? What's his name? Happy Money? Can't remember. This is a younger Jon Favreau with no facial hair, and yeah, but. I quite like these ones I've set up here. We've got Dengar. He's an awesome figure. I won't mess with him. And I often wonder about Dengar's armor. Like, what's that made of? Does that have some Beskar in it? It looks pretty like thick and pretty. He's another one that basically just looks like a walking tank. And we got Django, Wrecker, and I also chose this guy as well at the back from Rogue One, Baze Malbus, because I love his gun. It's like, it's not the same, but it's very similar to like what Paz Vizsla has, you know, with that chain link which feeds the ammunition, and it's got like a tank on the back, and he's got like about 40,000 blaster rounds. I mean, incredible. I bet this guy could handle himself on the battlefield. Even if he lost his weapon, he would punch the shit out of... I don't know, man. Like, sometimes you want it to be more clear in Star Wars. Like, okay, so which alien species are really strong and they can fight, and which ones are like less strong? Because it's hard to say, right? You've got so many species. I mean, Hammerhead versus Greedo, who's going to win that? Don't know. We need to have some. Oh, that episode of The Mandalorian in season 2 was really good. Do you remember that first one with the Gamorrean guards, and they're in the ring, and it's like doing MMA. I thought that was a really good episode. But they were using vibro axes, so I think I would just like to see them not use any weapons and just be like elbow, eye gouging, punching, knee to the face, and just like, you know, like proper melee style violence. So yeah, anyway, and I watched recently. I watched the new version of All Quiet on the Western Front on Netflix, and there's some really great scenes in that. And they really show the horrors of, you know, melee warfare. Because I thought, you know, like close quarter combat, I think you're still using your primary weapons to attack and defend. But melee warfare is basically where there's just everybody squished together, and it's basically, you know, like anything goes. And there's like a couple of scenes in where the Germans they managed to reach the French, the trenches, and it just becomes so brutal. There's like a guy, he has to improvise. All he's got is he sees a shovel, just picks it up and caves the guy's head in with it. I mean, yeah, it's really awful. But I mean, if you're going to be a true warrior, you need to fight under, you know, like all different circumstances, right? And that means whether, you know, these guys are always wearing their armor. Maybe that's the reason why they're always wearing their armor, you know, because when they take it off, they can't fight. I don't know. We shall, hopefully that, you know, as we get through more seasons of The Mandalorian, we shall find out more about their warrior code and whether or not these guys are really up for the fight. Okay, right, I'm going to get this guy unboxed right now. We're going to have a look at Paz Vizsla, the SDCC, and we'll get him set up next to our other Black Series figures here. So here he is out of the packaging. Absolutely fantastic. This is like one of my favorite characters of all time in Star Wars, I think, and certainly one of my favorite action figures in both scales. You can see like straight away, like the paint is like really different. It's got a much darker like navy blue on the TVC and a much lighter blue and a more of a kind of a matte finish on the Black Series. And I'll give you some tips with this guy here, because let me just move this out of the way, because this is extremely hard to get in place. So what I suggest you do is take that out, okay? So because when you get it, basically, let me take this off. So when you get, oh come on, from my cold dead hands. Weapon retention, very good. So when you get it, it's like this, right? So this part is in position, and then you have to try to feed that into his gauntlet, and it's very hard. Actually, I found it almost impossible, and it kept falling out. So what I did was, I was like, okay, reverse engineering. So I put this part in first into his gauntlet and really ram it in there so it gets really deep, and then you put that part in there, okay? So that's my suggestion, and it will stay snugly in place. Yeah, so this guy, his weapon is like very similar to, let's see if I can get this guy at the back here without him falling over. So yeah, he's kind of similar, isn't he, to Baze Malbus. I really like the way that this feeds into his weapon. It's a big mama gun. If I was on a battlefield, I definitely would like to have one of these big mama guns, definitely, for sure. Look at that. This is also such an awesome chunky figure. I do like his armor. He's well protected. So back to Paz Vizsla here. Yeah, he's got the removable helmet and lovely face sculpt. He's a slightly older John with a goatee beard, looking more serious. And yeah, it's cool. I love it. And it's got the, I like this. It's the Mythosaur. And no spoilers, so I won't say anything else about that. And we talked last week about the where's the little TVC guy gone? So the TVC comes with this shield, and we've seen that before in Rebels and Clone Wars. And you know, we talked about how that basically is protecting his hand and his gauntlet, because the gauntlet has so much technology on it, and if it got broken, then, like, you know, all you're doing is just walking around in a suit of armor, and you haven't really got any weapons, because this kind of controls everything. I guess if you wanted to, you could use a bigger one. I mean, this comes from the Stormtrooper that came out last year in the vintage collection, and this was one of the accessories, like a blaster bolt. I mean, if you could figure out some way to like attach that or glue that on, that might look cool. I don't know. It's about, I know it's a little bit too big, I'd say. Maybe not. What do you think? But yeah, it'd be nice for the 6-inch John to have the shield as well. That will be super cool. And yeah, it's very similar to the 3.75, because like the back here, the Karma, is the same. It's a hard plastic. It's not soft goods. But I think it's all good, you know. This is actually, I think this is really nice and better than the original version, D2. I don't know if you guys remember that one, the original heavy infantry Mandalorian. He came in a I haven't got him anymore. Before I made this video, I actually said to my girlfriend, let me move the camera. I said to my girlfriend, where's my my D2? And she said, I sold it. And I was like, what? You did what? You sold my heavy Mandalorian? And sometimes when I leave my toys hanging around, she thinks that they're like up on the store and she would just sell them, but actually they're not. They're in my collection. So no. So this was like before we had all the deluxes. Remember that? D1, D2, D3, D4. So D2 was the heavy Mandalorian, and then D1 was General Grievous. That was really sick, man. That was a really cool. Let me just turn around and show you. This was like, that's that one. And then this one was, this was like the old deluxe system when we had the red and black boxes. I really liked that. Yeah. So yeah, interesting. Right, before I get this fella on the spinny table and pose and take some pictures of him, that's always my favorite part of the video, by the way. I just really enjoy posing these guys and then editing that on like in a nice sequence on my editing software. So before that, I just wanted to mention a bit more about the weapons. Like, I don't know, man, because like in self-protection, a lot of weapons, the best weapons are the ones that you can't see. So something that is hidden. And also weapon retention is very important as well, because if you've got something that's going to fall out of your hands, then that's it. You can't use it anymore, or worse still, your enemy will pick it up and then use it on you. So yeah, there's all kinds of like different opinions about what weapons are effective and which ones are not. I've actually I collect action figures, like really passionate about collecting the Black Series, and then recently about the TVC. But I also before I started doing this, I collected weapons. So that's another collection I've got, and so I've got a couple I can show you here. This one is like, I think is just like a novelty, but completely useless. This thing, this is totally okay for me to own and keep in my house and in my collection, you know, but it's not okay for me to wear this outside. That is totally not okay. It's a belt, and then basically hidden in the buckle here is, let's be very careful when I take this out, is this, you know, I mean, oh my god, that's going to kill someone. So yeah, but I mean, but it's totally impractical, because I mean, if you were in a fight and you had to use deadly force, which is pretty much the only time when you'd ever need to use a knife, right, in your own defense, is like, you know, someone's going to kill you. I mean, it would take you like 10 minutes to take your belt off, and then your trousers would fall down your ankle, you know, your pants would fall down around your ankles. So what's the point? So I just thought this was kind of a unique but really stupid self-defense weapon. Yeah, but that's in my collection, and there was like a couple of others. This one was really a good one. Can you see that one? So this I used to use because I was a bodyguard for like a couple of years, and we weren't allowed to carry firearms, but we were allowed to carry tasers, extendable batons, and knives. And I used to have this as a deterrent. So under my blazer jacket, you would see it kind of looks like the handle of a firearm, and someone would see that and be like, "Oh god, that guy's serious." You know, don't. It was used as a deterrent more than anything else. And again, this is not something that I can go outside and wear when I go shopping, or, you know, go walking in the park with my girlfriend. That's not allowed. So this is just in my collection, and it stays at home under lock and key. And this is a pretty brutal knife, because it's basically used for punching. The way you hold it, like, it's completely different to a standard knife. The way it has this like the handle here, this is because you grip it and you basically thrust it forward, or you can just punch it into someone's body, which, you know, is, you know, this will kill someone. So, and this is totally illegal to walk around with on the streets, and it should be as well. But yeah, but I used to carry weapons with me when I was bodyguarding. I was doing self-protection, and you know, like, and I was thinking about these Mandalorians, and I was like, man, you can't just have one vibro dagger. You'd need to have like 2, maybe 3, because in a scuffle, in an actual, you know, situation where you've got contact, you know, you're probably going to lose your weapon. Your first weapon that comes out, you're going to lose it anyway in the panic. Some people are not very good under pressure. They kind of lose it and they freeze up. You know, it depends on you. You know, when you go into that fight or flight and all that adrenaline starts pumping around your body, some people, they get frozen, they can't move, right? And then other people, they will just run away. And then other people, they are just like, they kind of just like go into action and do their job. So yeah, I found that it was like really useful to have like a lot of backup weapons. So like not just carry one knife, carry like 2, maybe 3, and put them in different places. And also make sure that they are accessible, like you know, like, because if the shit does go down and you really do need it, then you're going to have to access it very quickly, lightning fast. You know, again, it's like a lot of these weapons that the Mandalorians have, I just feel like they're very cumbersome, heavy, and takes a long time to like kind of like set them up before you use them. Whereas I love those episodes. We talked about the vibro daggers. They're just wicked. I mean, that you just like whip it out. You know, you got it hidden in here. See, that's the other thing, like with the TVC, you've got, let me take this off. He's got the dagger right in here, which I was like, oh, that's really cool, because like he needs that. And but in the Black Series, they don't have the vibro dagger, and I think that's one of the best. Well, this guy here, let me take this off. The one thing I really love about Wrecker is that he has this, and it's just like, oh, so awesome. It's almost like a machete, and man, I would definitely, if I was him, yeah, I would definitely be carrying one of these, and then a slightly shorter vibro blade somewhere else that was accessible, but at the same time, like other people couldn't see it. Because I don't think it's always good to have weapons visible. Yeah. So anyway, that was just a little background information for you. And yeah, I did used to be a bodyguard for a short time, and also a nightclub bouncer as well. So I've seen a little bit of action. And luckily, you know, I use my head and use my common sense and use my communication skills to, you know, to diffuse conflict, and not, you know, having to resort to striking people or using any of my weapons. So that's good. Be professional. And right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get John. See, look at the size of these two. They're virtually like the same, right? Look, whoa, showdown. I want to see these two go toe to toe. Headbutt. Right, I'm going to put this guy on a spinny table, and let's go and do some posing for the heavy Mando. I think that'll about do it for today. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Many more videos coming up. If you do have the original Deluxe 2 version of Paz Vizsla, you can write in a comment section below and tell me, like, is it superior to this SDCC one, or are they about the same? Yeah, and then, like, I just tried this because I couldn't help myself. I think it looks quite good. He's like, someone's taken a shot at him, and the jetpack is almost exploding. I don't know. We just need more of these accessories. They look so cool. All right, guys, that's it for today. Oh, and I've got the Dark Saber 2.0 ready. Here we go.